Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. This pick a card reading is a peek into 2023, so we'll be having a little recap of 2022 and looking at some of the things that you can expect, some of the things coming towards you and what you're learning about in 2023. So as always, we have our piles here with group 1 on the left through to group 3 on the right. The timestamps will be in the description box below along with the cards that I'm using. There will be private reading spots open again soon. I'll make an announcement on my pages when I've opened those spots up. And that being said, I'll leave you with your selection and I hope you enjoy your reading. Hey group 1, and welcome to your reading. If you've chosen the pink opal heart, then this reading is for you. So this reading is a peek into 2023. We're just going to have a little look at a bit of a recap on 22, some of the things that you're learning, some of the things that you can expect coming your way, and a bit of advice from Spirit, lots of oracle cards about sort of what areas of life are most important at this time to be focusing on throughout 2023. So it looks like a really interesting reading for you group 1. And so starting with the pink opal, it is a stone of just nurturing yourself and choosing to be more compassionate to yourself and the choices you want to make that are right and in alignment with you, and not worrying so much about what other people think, but really going a way that is true to your heart, and just calming a bit of anxious nerves around situations that cause you stress. So maybe a little bit stressed about some things sometimes, but anyway, let's jump into the whole reading. I don't even know where to start. Maybe we could start with these cards from the Astro codes. You've got retrograde review. We are actually currently in a Mercury retrograde at the beginning of this year. We've got the 12th house introspection and the 11th house community. So all of these areas for you in 2023 are going to be really important. And I can see already with your reading, the other cards here on the table, just a lot of the messages I was feeling throughout this reading, that you are in a time of needing to just step back and review, which is a good time of year for it before everything kicks off again into the new year. It is a time for you to take a step back and really look at some of your relationships that you have with other people in your community, and also with yourself and with Spirit, and sort of how you value these connections and what they mean to you. And so maybe even reflecting on some of the connections lost in 2022, or connections that you perhaps still feel you need to release even. There's a lot to be said here about review when it comes to the groups of people you're involved with here. The 11th house, I do also feel like this is to say there will be a lot of growth and progress in this area as well. So if there is a change in your social circle, you could expect that this year, or a change in some of the people you spend your time with. There could also be a lot of positive growth in this area, like meeting with groups of people, having meaningful groups of people in your life that help uplift you, and really maybe even like spiritual groups here with the 12th house, 11th house. You may have a lot to do with leading spiritual groups, or being in amongst healers, or groups of people that are that like to explore the mysteries of life. I see a lot of cards here that talk about groups of people. So that is going to be very important for you in 2023, is the people you surround yourself with. And even the underlying energy of this reading is the 4 of Wands, which to me is a community card. A lot of the time it is a spiritual marriage card here too. You see a divine union here in the imagery, but 4 of Wands is also that place in our community and our spiritual progress, our growth in that sense, and just embodying I think just our most wonderful qualities. I like to see that as the 4 of Wands, and coming together and helping other people uplift people and have them embody their most wonderful qualities, and everyone really working together. So what else have we got here? You have in the Sacred Destiny Oracle, we have the cards release, protection and fulfillment. Lots of tree imagery here, which I do really love for you. It looks like there's going to be a massive natural progression is what I can see here. Really, really, really big changes, but not in a big shocking sense. I don't get that from this reading. I don't pick up that big, alarming, scary change, this sort of thing. I think this is something that slowly shifts and is currently shifting, because we have release, protection, fulfillment, and I do see this as a progression where you will release things that are not working out for you. You're realizing, I think, that you have a lot more power in your choices, your personal choices, than you perhaps have felt in the past or given yourself credit for, or given yourself permission for. I think you have a lot more power in choosing, and I think you're going to be choosing a little differently. You're choosing to protect yourself, but also to understand that you are protected and supported. I think you know that in life in general, and through spirit, you are protected through choices and changes that happen for you. So I think you have an understanding of that as well, that when things are not working, then perhaps there's a better way, or there's this underlying reason to things. And with fulfillment here, what I see is after some sort of release in your life, which I do see you maybe even in this stage right now of working out what needs to go, and how better to protect yourself so that you can have the fulfillment you want in your life, because there is fulfillment coming for you. And it's really interesting that all these cards in the Oracle sort of echo that same message, because you also have be bold, make the first move, and the end of a tough cycle approaches, which is exactly that message of needing to choose where you need to release things or what needs to end for you. The end of a tough cycle approaches. That's 100% here for you, and that's why right now is a need to be in the retrograde energy of review, of just taking a little moment, taking a step back. So let's look over, I've got more Oracle cards in a moment, but we'll look over into the tarot for a recap of 22, and we have the 7 of Wands, the 2 of Swords, and the 8 of Pentacles. So I can see straight away that this has been a really challenging year for you. It's not been easy. There's been a lot of growth at the same time, though. I feel like these are different areas of your life. For some of you, it could be all meshed up completely, but I do really see that you have I think you've really struggled throughout the year to perhaps stand up for yourself in a situation, and you may have gotten to a point during 22 that you did manage to do that, because I do see liberation here. Even though there was uncertainty and perhaps even fear in making a decision, I think you were very on the fence of something for quite some time. Maybe it's changing your career, or maybe it's leaving a situation that's just not healthy for you anymore. But you have really, really struggled with that, I can see here. But you've also made a lot of progress with the 8 of Pentacles. You've been determined to make things work underneath the surface. You've been making these other efforts in other areas, perhaps. So this could be 2 different areas of life. Like I said, I kind of feel that for many of you, where one area has been really challenging, but you've also had this other area that's actually been flourishing, like maybe even doing really well in your career, or doing really well in your studies and things like that, things that you're learning in skill development. But in maybe another area of social or something has been really challenging, and you've had a lot of conflict perhaps. But let's have a look now into what you're learning as you move into 2023. We have the 3 of Coins, the 8 of Swords, and Death. This is wonderful. Do not fear the Death card. I'm sure many of you understand that it is just change and transformation. And with the 3 of Pentacles here, the 8 of Swords, I do feel like there is massive change in the way you relate to people, and the way you maybe, and like I said earlier, the people that you relate to. You may be looking at the types of dynamics you have in your life and what really supports your growth and what doesn't, without running from situations out of fear as well. I think you're also learning to identify where you need to face your fears in regards to triggers in emotional conversations with people, or those uncomfortable conversations, being able to stand up and speak and make it work with people, rather than running or making the conflict even worse, if that's something you've had to deal with or something you've been trying to overcome. I do feel like you've been really trying to strengthen your responses and your composure, and that comes from healing self. And so there's been a lot of personal work on, I do feel like there's been a lot of efforts in self-development in this way. And so 23, you're going to see a lot more of that with the 8 of Swords and 3 of Pentacles and Death. It's like these relationships or connections, groups of people you're involved with, that you feel like you're stuck in. That's not going to be the case anymore. And for those of you, like I said, that have sometimes tender moments or moments that you feel like maybe you're not good enough for a certain group of people, or maybe you get imposter syndrome, or maybe you just have certain traumas with connection to people and groups of people that cause these behaviours to come out, that may be the case. Obviously not for everyone. A lot of people are going to read this for everyone here, but I do feel quite strongly that you're really working on that this year so that you can grow with people, grow with groups of people. Though for some of you, you may be still yet to meet people. This may be a fear of yours to go out and actually mesh with groups of people. It may be something you've held yourself back from, and that's going to change this year. So what you're learning about this year is how to grow through groups of people, and how to be a team player, how to make things work, how to move out of self-sabotaging patterns, self-sabotaging thoughts, negative self-beliefs, all sorts of things like this. This is what is changing this year for you. And I think you're also learning that you have a lot more power in groups of people, and it's okay to say no, or it's okay to say, hey, I didn't like that, or it's okay to have those uncomfortable conversations without it ruining a relationship. And I think you can grow from these situations, absolutely. So we have what is coming your way in 23. We have the Eight of Wands, the Ace of Cups, and the Knight of Coins. I got a few messages for the few different groups of people here. That was like this. So first of all, travel. If there is potential for travel, even if it's little day trips and just doing things differently, it's short little getaways, or even, bigger trips, take that opportunity. There's often, for a lot of you, there is a high chance of that happening for you. For a lot of you, there's also a chance of planning travel that's off in the future, so maybe not in this year, but you make those plans to make it happen off in the future. For some of you, I do feel like there's offerings of work overseas, or opportunities to perhaps work online that brings you in different money from different sources. For those of you that are single, I do see a message here of potential of something quite beautiful developing in a relationship for you, somebody who is quite gentle and calming and reliable, that sort of thing. I think this is more for the message of people that have been single for some time. There is some sort of new love situation for you that will gently, who knows where it will go. Everyone's a little different, but with the Knight of Pentacles here, it's sort of a very gentle, slow start, no rush, and it feels very good. So the message also for those of you that are in relationship, I can see here, I can see actually a few messages there. I don't want to go for those in relationship, because everyone in relationship is actually in a different situation. Some are, this relationship is flourishing and you're making these plans for the future within your connection. There is lots of love here. There's lots of hope for healing or growth, or just sort of working together in this direction that's sort of looking at the bigger picture, and just carefully working towards it. No rushing sort of energy. It's just sort of a becoming. So for those of you that are studying, or that are working on some sort of new project, I can see that this really fulfills you. Ace of Cups, Eight of Wands, you're learning so much. Things like this could be somebody, maybe you're starting a new study this year, or continuing on a study you've already started, and it's this bit of a way to go yet. So I see you starting something new here that feels really, really good for you. And something that's going to take a while to see those results, but you're also going to enjoy it every step of the way, and it's going to be lots of fun and very motivating and very exciting and just really fulfilling, very healing, whatever it is that you're engaging in these I think as well, I can see the cards myself on the table, it's easier. I really feel like there's a lot of lifestyle changes here in regards to what you're consuming and your exercise, like just your general health, well-being sort of energy. You're really looking at little subtle changes in that area this year. I can see that, and you're looking how to really take care of yourself. Alternative milk, I'm just seeing here for somebody that wants to change away from dairy or something like this is important for somebody. That feels like bang on there. Yeah, and just anything that you're learning that's going to be really beneficial in the future is really worth your attention this year, to really foster and nurture something new. So, advice from Spirit. We have the 2 of Wands, the 10 of Wands, the 5 of Wands here in advice from Spirit for 2023. And so this is about changing a road that you're currently on. The 2 of Wands is a crossroads, and it's interesting to see this 10 of Wands with the protection and the release trees that we had here as well. We've got a lot of tree imagery, so this is making me feel like, you know, especially being 10 of Wands, that there is something very heavy that you need to release or protect yourself from. When I say protect yourself from, I don't mean to say that as in something bad is coming to get you and to instill fear in any which way. This could just be certain choices you're making that aren't good for you, or some relationships you're engaging in that you don't need to in the ways that you are. Or it could also be other people's drama and burdens and responsibilities that you just no longer need to carry. That's why release is here and protection. I do feel that the Spirit's advice for 23 is to look at the areas that aren't working for you, the areas in life that cause you a lot of conflict and strain, 5 of Wands, 2 of Wands, and choose something different for yourself, because there is a beautiful community and perhaps even a beautiful connection in your future, with the 4 of Wands being the underlying energy, especially after I've just pulled these as the last cards, all these wands. And the 4 of coins and the 5 of coins underneath that, 6 of coins, oh goodness, Magician, let me have a look here. Yeah, okay. Now it's going just too particular and there's so many different scenarios, but I see here like a really challenging situation that it was something that you wanted and it hasn't worked for you, but you've held on to it. Perhaps there's something there about that. So you're learning about what you need to release, and that's why Spirit is saying here with the 2 of Wands, 10 of Wands, something that you've been doing a certain way isn't working anymore. So you need to put down that burden and no longer engage in that conflict, and just choose a different way, or choose different. Just that, choose different for yourself. So, further oracle cards we have here is I am supported. Just know that you are supported. This is also about trusting that you're supported in your friendship circles if you were to reach out for support. That I do feel there's a message there for those that don't actually do that, that it would be beneficial maybe to get a bit of a sounding board, or maybe even some good advice. But do trust that you are supported in your life and in your journey here. And throughout 23, you can always call on those special people that have passed on. I'm really feeling that quite strongly. There's somebody out there, a mother in particular, just that really strong connection there still. So lean on those spirits. You can have that conversation with them in your heart, and they will show their signs or ways of presence and guidance for you. But also lean on your guides, your energies, your deities, whoever it is, however it is, whatever it is that you call upon and feel supported by and connected to. Understand that you are, and maybe even work on fostering more of a connection with that. I see here 8 of Swords, Death, and the 3 of Pentacles. This doesn't have to all be completely about people in your life, but also your connection with Spirit. We've got the 12th house here, so it's going to be a really important time for your spiritual development, 23, by the looks of things, and not doubting yourself, not doubting your intuition, and not doubting your connection in that area. So you also have, you are currently under construction. Please be patient. Straight from Spirit, 100%. And also negative thinking, unfounded negative thoughts are very worth being aware of. Be patient with yourself. You have a lot more power in situations than you realize with the solar plexus. You have a lot more personal power in situations, and I'm just now being called to the crystal again, where maybe you need to just make the choices that are on your terms in a situation, because people pleasing or worrying about what other people think it's not going to help you get to where you need to be and where you're growing, and the way you're growing and where you're headed. You have, be careful with who and what you surround yourself with. So I'm seeing obviously with the smoke here, maybe smoking is something in your life you'd like to get rid of. But also this could be toxic people or substances of any kind, things that just hold you back, or just be careful what energies you take in, and also like what you surround yourself in, maybe other negative thinkers or things that cause negative thinking, certain news or media or the things you intake. Be careful of those things, because if the small things do actually matter, to be gentle with yourself and what you consume. Sometimes it's the little things that can make life wonderful. It's also about making the sweet little efforts for yourself to eat a nutritious meal, putting in that little bit of effort to nourish your belly, because you'll have more energy and better thoughts the next day. Things like that, just doing things with loving intention, sweet little things. Putting time on your eggs, it's the little things. All right, group 1, that is what I have for you for a peek into 2023. So that was pretty fun. I really enjoyed that. I hope that you did as well. I hope it gave you some sort of comfort, clarity, or guidance for 23 and what you're moving through. I can see here that any changes you're going through, you've already been through so much challenge. I really like these images alone in 23. Look at this challenge, all cards here like are challenges in all different ways. I can see that you've been challenged here. The 7 of Wands, like this, the fire, the wands here, or these would be more like gigantic nails. I think he was building a railway. It's a John Henry story. And then we have the nettles here that she's weaving pentacles from, and they're all cutting her up, and it's almost like like, where weren't you challenged in 22? Where weren't you challenged? That's what it feels like. And I just feel it myself. Try to like a little bit. But what I see here with the solar plexus bang on in the middle as well, and then above that, be bold and make the first move, because the end of tough cycles are approaching, and you have the power to create change that you want to see in your world and move things forward in a direction that nourishes you, really keeping your eyes on the horizon and slowly, dutifully, dedicatedly working towards something that means something for you, something bigger picture thinking down the road, something to do with long-term health or your career or your home, your family, your mental health, your heart, whatever it is. So many things are growing and evolving this year for you, and the challenges you face are only there to just show you what you're made of, and that you deserve this beautiful, loving connection, not only in your intimate romantic life, but also in your friendships, your connections with the people that you surround yourself with. So yeah, we'll leave it there for you, group 1. Yeah, I look forward to reading for you all again soon. Bye, group 1. Hey, group 2, and welcome to your reading. If you've chosen the Amethyst Generator, then this one is for you. Such a lovely little piece of amethyst. So the intuitive stone, the psychic stone, beautiful amethyst. I was just actually Googling that amethyst actually got its name from, it's broken down to mean not intoxicated. So apparently it was used to keep the wearer sober. That's pretty interesting. That was just on a quick Google right now. I don't know, I felt like checking that out. So maybe that's a message for someone, maybe someone's trying to stay sober in 2023. But yeah, welcome to your reading. This is your peek into 2023. We're going to have a little recap of 22, look at some of the things that you're learning, some of the things that are going to be coming your way, and a bit of advice from Spirit. And we've got a bunch of oracle cards to see what areas for you are the focus as well. So where do I even start? Maybe we'll just start with the recap of 22 for group 2. We've got the King of Pentacles in reverse, the 2 of Swords, the Moon, and the 10 of Swords. So 2022 may not have been your best year, group 2. It looks like it's been really, really challenging, and there may have been a great deal of loss here, and maybe a choice that you might have made that just, or a series of choices that sort of made things really challenging and tricky for you. With the King of Pentacles, this can be a card of overindulgence, maybe choosing things that aren't healthy, or just not, maybe you lost a great deal of money or some sort of physical gain in your life, something that you maybe had that you maybe didn't feel like you either got to keep it, or you were unable to build something that you were trying to build. With the King of Pentacles reversed, I'm really feeling like a bit of a hard situation there. A big loss of personal power, of confidence, just lots of things, I think, lots of conflict perhaps. And we have the Two of Swords here, the Moon, and the Ten of Swords as well. So there may have been a really, really big ending for you in your life here, particularly towards the end of the year, or the last half of the year maybe, where you maybe really struggled with a decision you needed to make out of fear, and you maybe have finally come to the point where you're ready to make that choice, or you did make that choice. Because what I see for 2023 for you is a totally different energy of 2022, I've got to tell you that. And it's not going to be all butterflies and rainbows and lollipops and easy, that's for sure. There's some things in this reading that we'll get through, but there's also a lot of your efforts are going to pay off in 23. But staying in 22 right now, it was not easy for you, and there may have been a lot of fears, illusions, things you may have told yourself that just weren't the truth, things you may have told other people that weren't the truth, things like that just had to end. Maybe you're in relationships that were full of secrecy, or you just couldn't quite work out why things happened the way they did, or there's just it feels like a bit of a mess in a situation here. So whatever that is for you, it's clear that you're ready to leave that behind. And I think you really struggled with making certain choices out of fear. Maybe you were fearful to end things, or fearful of your ability to rebuild things, or something like that as well. Like, I think there's a lot of doubt in your ability to do well in something that was a real challenge for you. Maybe something happened that knocked your confidence, but I do see a real struggle, and perhaps even just going off inside of yourself for quite some time here. And yeah, I feel like there's definitely a really hard decision that needed to be made, or maybe even still needs to be made. We'll see. Let's progress into the reading, into what you're learning in 2023. So we have the Page of Coins, the Ace of Wands, and the Sun. This is so nice. This is a new beginning for you. This is a new beginning for sure. And with the Ace of Wands, I got a real Phoenix rising vibe out of the card when it landed. It felt so transformative. And with the Sun there as well, I really, really love this for you. It's to say that any new project that you put your mind to, anything that's really honouring your body, or honouring the duties you have to fulfill in this life, it feels like it's a little bit laden with responsibility, but not in a way that is burdensome. It's almost like an honour to step into this role and rebuild this, or earn this, or make this happen, and really it feels honorary for some reason. Honorary, is that the way you say it? Honorary, yeah. And with the Page of Coins here, I do feel like you're learning to take new opportunities to rebuild, and to start something new and creative. You might be starting a new business, you might be starting a new career path, or you might be starting a new health regime, you might be starting a new anything like this. You could be somebody who really likes New Year's resolutions, but although I don't really want to talk about that so much in this reading, because, you know, we become ready for resolution and change and revolution at different points in the day and the year in our lives. So I don't like to focus too much on that of a New Year's resolution thing. It's not really my vibe, but I feel for some of you, you might be using New Year's to cap some things, to decide, well, that's staying in 22, I'm moving forward into it. And sometimes it can really help to look at things like that, what you want to leave in the last year. But you're moving into a time of more growth. You might be literally getting more sunshine, like spending more time outdoors, being more creative. You're learning this year about just your creative expression and sharing that with the world. Yeah, definitely a lot of sharing creativity in the world. There's a new project to come your way. Oh, that's so funny, because It's actually right above the Get Creative card. That all makes perfect sense. I don't mean, it almost even looks like a paintbrush. Probably is. Look at that. Yeah, I did not see that before on the table. Yeah, this is a year of creativity for you, and to really blossom into your creative arts, your creative self, whether that's your music, your health and your personal expression. Your creation could be your life, your body, yourself, the way you appear inside and out, like all of those things. There's a lot of health and nourishment. The underlying energy of this reading is the Queen of Cups. So this is a time to really nourish yourself, and also an emotional healing time. I can see that there's some heaviness in the emotions, in emotional triggers and trauma and wounding, and that is going to come up for you this year continually, like it did last year. I can see that, but you're going to be working through that stuff differently this time. This time you're going to be really. Things are not going to be. I want to say things are not going to be as bad as they were, and it's really based on choices you've made. Yeah, exactly. And I pick up the card underneath the Queen of Cups, because it was the Lovers, and I wanted to show you that it's the choice that you've made with the Lovers. And then look what's underneath that. It's actually the Six of Swords. It really is a choice that you've made to leave behind something heavy and just leave the past behind. That's all I want to say about it. You know, you've made a choice to nurture yourself, and maybe even be more nurturing to the people around you, or, you know, the people that love you. I do feel like there are people in your life that love you. For some of you, have a very loving partner. Obviously not the case for everyone, but I can really feel that for somebody here, that you do have. Yeah, Four of Wands is underneath that as well. A partner who's really worked quite hard for this relationship to work, and I think you've both been through quite a lot. But we'll keep the love message there, because it's not for everyone. So where are we now? So what you're learning this year is your creativity and positivity as well, to really come into the sun, not only physically in your life, like get out in the garden and go for walks and all those sorts of things, get in the sunshine, but also internally, like positive thinking, I think is really going to be something you're working on this year, to just let go of the negativity, let go of the past, let go of doubts, and just really move forward with your chin up. Like, you know, looking forward to the opportunities and having quite an open heart, shoulders back, really thinking about your posture quite a lot. Which is interesting, there's a card here that shows learn how to honor and treat your body well. And she has this beautiful posture in Cobra pose, but maybe even you'd like to do some yoga and work on your posture while I'm on that topic. Maybe you'd like to just work on looking after your body. All right, so what is coming your way in 23? We've got the Wheel of Fortune and the Seven of Wands, the Six of Wands and the Star. I really like this. You're making really big changes in your world, and it's not going to be easy to stick to some of the changes you're making, and because there's going to be times when you may feel like, what's the point, or you just get discouraged for one reason or another. Maybe someone says something, or whatever it might be, you know. You may feel challenged. Not everyone agrees with the direction you're headed, or maybe not everyone can see what it is you're trying to achieve. Maybe you're not achieving it quick enough for people to see the results, so people might not know what you're really doing and the efforts you're really putting in underneath the surface. It may feel that way at times, but that's not going to be the case all the time, and you need to really stick it out and believe in yourself and believe in the hard work that you're putting into changing and making changes for yourself, because they are going to pay off. You've got the Wheel of Fortune, Six of Wands and the Star surrounding the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is a card of liberation. There are challenges, but it's about believing in yourself anyway, and just sticking out what you know to be true, what you know to be right, regardless of what anyone else says or thinks. Stick to the truth, stick to yourself, stick to your changes, stick to good health, stick to good choices. Just really stick to what is good and nourishing. The Star is here, the Six of Wands is here. You are a rising star. For some of you, this is big fame. For some of you, this is maybe you're going to be noticed with your creative works this year. This is what's coming for you, Wheel of Fortune. It's going to be challenging. Maybe it demands even more work of you to have your work sort of become more popular. Maybe then there's a lot more demanded of you in this case. But it is, I see a rising star here in 23. That's what's coming your way with this beautiful star card. Everything is changing in a way that is beautiful and lightening and healing. And it's not always easy. I just really want to make that clear. There are, you know, I'll get to the oracles in a moment. It talks on this energy of emotions running high, and there being confrontation and challenge at times. But maybe some of this is just inside self as well. But all these things happen so that you can face something inside self, and I think that's what you realized you're working through. You're achieving that, is learning how to identify through challenge what choices or ways to perceive the situation that's actually going to be beneficial for you moving forward, rather than holding on to things and holding on to challenge and conflict and maybe making things worse. You're learning to release and come back to your power, come back to truth. There's a lot of healing here. There's a lot of development, personal development here. You're strengthening your character in many different ways. And I just do really see here with the Six of Wands, Wheel of Fortune in this bunch as well. Like, it's going to be a very fortuitous change for you. And it's going to bring you a lot of popularity perhaps for some people. And it doesn't have to mean everyone popularity in the big sense of, like, you know, massive views on YouTube or something, like getting your art put into, I don't know, whatever, you know, big things. These can be big things in any different which way. It doesn't have to be, you know, global scale. This can be just within your community of people realizing the big changes you're making. This could be within your most intimate relationships, your family and your friends. They're starting to see the changes you're making and how that shines differently through your eyes and your work, and just the way you're received is different this year. You will be received differently because of the effort and the determination you put into really correcting some things. So, advice from Spirit for 23. You have the Seven of Coins, the Chariot, and the Page of Cups. I love this advice. To devote yourself, even when things feel like you're not seeing the results. That's what this one's all about. Even when you feel like you've put in heaps and heaps of effort, and, you know, the Chariot does talk about challenge as well, but it also talks about overcoming the challenges with confidence. So believe in yourself, believe in where you're headed. Work through any of the fears that come up and any of the personal triggers and challenges that come up in regards to the progress you're making. Or I think you need to be not so hard on yourself as well for how far or you think you should be or where you think things should be in your life, but rather just accepting where they are and being just stop for a minute and be a little bit more proud of yourself for how far you actually have come, even if it's not meeting your expectations at the time. You really do need a lot more, letting go and believing in self, and just keep putting along, keep working towards something that you've invested in here with the Seven of Pentacles. To be confident in investments, to be confident to put your energy forward and not expect the worst, but really just putting your best foot forward. The Page of Cups as well, I see a message here of forgiveness, of harmony, of friendships, of connections that mean a lot to you, of trusting connections that are in your world. This is also the Artist card as well. Quite often Page of Cups, there's a lot of art energy, artist energy in this reading. So whether you're a musician or a visual artist, a singer, a songwriter, an author, it doesn't matter what your art is. Maybe you're a reader as well. Your art is really special. It's developing, and I think that it's very worth your attention, your investment in 23. So let's jump over to some oracle cards for you. You have got Pisces in the, what are they, Astro Codes Oracle. You've also got Opposition, Confrontation. So what I see a few things here. These fish are swimming in opposite directions. There's a lot of opposition energy here. So I do feel like for you there's a lot of conflict, even internally, at times in your relationships and with self and just with life. I do feel like a lot of frustration within self at life sometimes for you. But what I see here as well is you learning how to handle these oppositions and understanding that you can work through these challenges. There are things inside of you, I feel, that you're really wanting to overcome, work through and release. And you're really managing to do that this year. I think you're also understanding quite how sensitive you are. I don't know how I said that rightly, but anyway. I think you're coming to understand how sensitive you are to other people's energies. And you're very, very perceptive. I mean, you've chosen the amethyst for a very good reason. There's so much purple in the oracle cards that actually surround that particular crystal. It's amazing. They're all purple. It's beautiful, actually, very aesthetically pleasing on the table. And I do feel, that you are a very, very sensitive person. So I think coming to understand your own sensitivities and what's yours and what's not yours, and also understanding the people around you and their emotions. And I think instead of perhaps if you were somebody who used to or if maybe you've since found that you've come into conflict quite easily, maybe with a specific person in your life, that might be something you're wanting to really work through and heal this year. There is going to be opposition and conflict for you, but I think you're also needing to realise your own sensitivities in the situation and to work through those fears. With this new moon in Scorpio, we have the energy is gaining momentum, waxing moon, and we have emotions are running high, super moon. And these weren't the only purple cards around this crystal, but isn't that beautiful? This is definitely a time for you to understand that when emotions are running high, when there's conflict, and when you're maybe feeling sensitive, it is a time to really just step back, to let go of the tension in situations and just reflect for a while before you come forward. I think that there's a lot to do with personal triggers here, or not wanting to respond in ways that are maybe running out of fear or responding out of fear or aggression, but instead just learning when that energy is building, how to handle that situation. I think that's a focus for you this year, and maybe also channeling some of that energy into your art or other avenues as well. We also have from Sacred Destiny Oracle, we have flow and potential, and that's exactly what this year is for you as well. It is a time to just go with the flow, go with things, to not be so much in opposition. But when you're feeling that challenge, to spend that time working through those fears when emotions are running high and when things are really hard. Just surrender, flow. Look, even more purple, as you can see. It's quite purple, and there's yet more to come. To just surrender these bigger emotions, to take steps back, to not react out of frustration perhaps, or self-sabotaging patterns, things like that need releasing. Maybe you run to things to cope, or that aren't really particularly healthy, that you maybe don't want to do that anymore. Or I think there's just a lot to work through this year when it comes to the area of emotions and just going with the flow. Let's go to the book for flow and potential. All right, flow. There are times to hold on tight to the shore, and there are times to enter the flow. Notice where life is going and move in that direction. Watch for signs and follow them. Don't resist. When you go with the flow, your life force expands and healing on all levels abounds. This is also a time to release old limiting patterns, forgive, and let go of the need to be right about your beliefs. If you aren't feeling the smooth currents of life, it might mean that you're being self-critical or judgmental. When you enter the flow with gratitude and love, you will find blessings surrounding you, and you will enter into a state of gratitude, and healing will abound. And I also feel that it's through that you will unlock so much of your own potential. But then I also feel this card is separate from that, in that you are realizing, unlocking, untapping your inner potential this year, your creative potential. I think there's some of these things that you come across this year you maybe not expected you could do or would be good at, and you actually really are. And it's time to really dive into that and to discover what is inside that, in that beautiful potential that you have. We have learn how to honor and treat your body well. I already held it up before, but I always got to hold this one up again because it's the best message. It really is. We don't deserve a fighting chance at succeeding in anything if we don't treat our mind and our body well. Particularly, it says in this card, the body. So eating well, getting good sleep, being kind to yourself, realizing when your emotions are high and not feeding into it even more, but learning how to self-soothe and come down and de-escalate. Things like that might be important for you. Or just removing yourself from things that aren't good for you as well, like other people's energies as well. Maybe part of honoring and treating your body well is putting yourself in environments that are more relaxing for you so that you can heal and rest. We have you will get what you wish for, but is it what you truly want? A little cheeky one there. So obviously that message, you may already know, have an inkling about what this one might mean for you. There may be some things you've been choosing that just aren't working for you, and it'll come clear this year. I think it will come clear for you. There's something you might have been fighting to receive or make work, and when you finally get it, you realize, oh, maybe that wasn't right. But there's something beautiful in that as well. There's always purpose in the way that we learn things, and I think it's a card of really being honest with yourself about what you want in your life. Because it feels like a rebuilding of your life almost for 23 in a sense here, and you can make it how you want to. So we have forgiveness sets you free. It keeps you from hanging on to what was never meant to be. So there does feel like there's going to be something come clear this year that wasn't meant for you, or it wasn't working for you, and so forgiveness sets you free. And like I did say before, we have get creative, inspire and nurture the creativity in yourself to expand your thinking. So with so many cards here already about artistry and creativity, the Page of Cups, all of it there. Definitely any opportunity you have, any little things you've already been considering, maybe even during this reading, that thing you might try, pop it up. This year I'm doing an embroidery journal. It's pretty cool. You get an embroidery hoop and you divide it up into 12 months, and you can stitch a little pictures in each month for whatever you want to remember of that month. And that's going to be my new creative thing for this year. So maybe you'd like to try that or something else. But try new things, try creative things. We also have a root chakra and make new friends together here, which I found quite interesting. Separate and together is what I feel this message for sure. Make new friends just in general. I do feel like that's important here. And I do also feel like you might be someone who isolates yourself and maybe doesn't keep many friends. Or maybe you have a few acquaintances but not real close friends. That might be the case. So I do feel like this year it would be a good idea for you to put some roots down within your community. And if you already do have some friends or a particular friend, to maybe put a little bit more effort into making that connection, like building more foundation within that connection, the roots of the connection, to really nurture it a little bit more. And if this is about new connections, then yeah, definitely about putting your roots down within your community and having that solid support network. I think you really need a solid support network of really good friends that have common interests to you. So perhaps other artists. Maybe it's about literally that, like maybe you join a workshop or something that you make friends in, and that's really supportive for you. There's definitely opportunities that will come in for you to really make new friends. But the root chakra is also about your stability in the world. And when you open up a reading with the recap of 22, first card being the King of Pentacles reversed, and then the advice Oracle is a root chakra card, then it's very clear that you are learning how to rebuild something here, and to do it properly, do it well, to put in that effort to really nurture yourself financially, stability-wise, discipline-wise, structure, routine-wise, those sorts of things. I think that's really important. And you're going to be doing those things to build yourself up. And I see the Nine of Cups when I split the deck just now. So lots of wish fulfillment comes in for you after what I would say is a pretty challenging 22, and maybe even prior to that as well. So group 2, that's what I have for you for your peek into 23. I hope you have enjoyed this reading. I hope it's given you some sort of comfort, clarity, or guidance. And I look forward to reading for you all again soon. Bye, group 2. Hi group 3, and welcome to your reading. If you chose the green aura quartz, then this one is for you. It's a pretty good choice, group 3, because this is your peek into 2023, and this stone is all about abundance and prosperity and growth in financial matters, personal growth, throwing the heart chakra open and finding healing in emotional matters as well. So a really good stone to see for 23. So yeah, this is your 23 peak. Let's have a look. We'll have a little recap into 22. We'll have a look at some of the things you're learning this year, some of the things that are coming your way, and bit of advice from Spirit and a whole bunch of Oracle cards as well. So let's jump in. There's also one Oracle card in particular that when I pulled it, a word on the card was actually the title of a song that just started playing. So I have a song for you as well. If you feel drawn to listen to it, then it's for you. If you don't feel drawn, then it's not. And that'll be in the down under the timestamps, Group 3's song. Little link there for that. So let's jump into where are we going? Let's recap. We should probably recap for 22. Starting with the 3 of coins, the 8 of swords, and the Queen of Pentacles is a recap into 22 for you. So lots and lots of different things, of course. It was a whole year, but we have here, there may be some strain, stress, or problems in regards to groups of people. Maybe your workplace. It could be social circles, friends, family. It could be anything really. Housemates, even. I'm getting that one quite loud there. So you may have found a bit of challenge with when it comes to groups of people, finding your place in groups of people where you belong. Perhaps that was a challenge, or maybe there were just challenges in groups where you do belong, but just, challenges did perhaps come up for you. With the 8 of Swords, you may have felt like there were real challenges throughout the year where you maybe felt like you weren't good enough for certain roles or certain groups. So you may have felt like maybe very stuck in a situation. If it's not that you didn't feel good enough, it may have been that you didn't feel powerful enough to create a change that you wanted to create, or stuck in some way. So I do also feel like there's another side of this coin as well, where there's also been, like, I feel the Queen of Pentacles quite separate from this energy in some messages, because like I said, it was a whole year, and this is just a little recap with 3 cards. But I can see here that it's been a lot of steady progress in regards to your financial situation or your career, and that may not have been as much as you've hoped. Perhaps there may have, but you can't deny that there's been some growth, is what I want to say. And I think you should take a moment to be proud of that, the effort that you've put in, because you've really done some really beautiful things in 2022 to nurture yourself, your career, your abundance, your dependents, your children, your pets, people that really rely on you, love you, and look after you for nurturing and care. I do feel like there's perhaps a lot of people that you do care for. I feel as well that you've been, for some of you, that you've maybe you're a sole trader or you work your own business. I can see that there's been a lot of challenges throughout the year, especially for those that really experienced the financial crisis, and you may have felt that throughout the world and the economy. So there may have been challenges here in regards to that, in regards to interest rates rising, cost of living, all of those challenges I can see here. And some of this is also just feeling like, some project you were working on, maybe at times it wasn't going as great, as you'd hoped, but that turned around, I do feel, or is turning around. It's hard. It's really actually hard to recap Group 3. The other 2 piles I found quite easy to recap. This one I'm finding challenging, and maybe because it's just so damn complex, and I go to say one thing and it's hard to it's almost like the situation is quite complex yet subtle. It's very strange, and that makes it tricky to read. But I do feel a lot of growth for you. Like there's been a lot of connections, maybe even collaborations with people that have really helped you. There have been challenging ones, but there's been good ones as well. And I do really feel when I see this card by itself, it's a marking of the progress you've made within your business. Even if you feel like it's not as best as you could do, or for whatever reason things didn't go 100% well, or you're not believing in your ability to make it happen really well, you are actually still doing really, really well. And I need you to know that. Actually, the underlying card for this whole reading is the Empress. So abundance is the perfect, actually, isn't it, for your crystal as well, for a peek into 23, to be seeing such abundant energy, and the Empress as the underlying energy. 8 of Cups is underneath that, 4 of Coins. So I do feel like There's been real pain in 23 that you've had to walk away from, and you've maybe found it hard to walk away from. You may have held on to something that wasn't good for you for longer than necessary, and you may have felt really, really stuck by that. But after a release, which I think may have already happened, you come back into your power. There's a transformation here for sure. And a lot of abundance and better times ahead. There's positive change for you that's been happening. So where do we go now? We're going to look at what you're learning for 2023. We have the Lovers and the Six of Swords. It's quite interesting. We also have Death, the Ace of Cups, and the Nine of Wands. I did only want a couple cards for each section, but you did get a lot more, Group 3. So with what you're learning this year, it's very clear you're learning to let go of things that just aren't resonating with you, that aren't healthy for you, things that squash you or make you feel less than, things that are really, really exhausting, challenging, and it's unnecessary challenge, or it's unnecessary, I don't know why I heard squabble. That's a different one. Squabble, like unnecessary arguments or bickering or something, that sort of energy. Things that you're leaving behind. You're learning how to lighten the load. You're learning how to choose on your terms with the Lovers card, Six of Swords. You're making a really big choice. And it's interesting, you've also got this Oracle card in the middle of your reading. A powerful change will transform your life this year. And that is true. In the other groups, each group has been very different, and as you'd expect for this type of reading, this is the one group that makes me feel like it's going to be a bigger change than in the other groups. The other groups may have been subtle change. You may have been drawn to the other groups too, and that's perfectly fine. But this group, if you've chosen it, it's because there will be a bigger change this year. And not anything to worry or fear at all. It will transform your life in a really powerful way. And you're going to learn how to honour your choices and remove yourself from situations that aren't right for you. You may even literally move overseas physically, over the water here. Obviously not for everyone, but one person out there might resonate with that. I do feel there is someone who will. We also have Death, the Ace of Cups, and Nine of Wands. So you're learning here how to honour and love yourself and take care of your needs and choose love over things that are exhausting. You're choosing, there's a big transformation here, and it comes from something that's really, really been challenging for you. And you're choosing to just love yourself. That's what you're learning this year, is to just love yourself and to let go. And to invest in your energy and your time into something worthwhile, something that's really meaningful to you. And it's interesting, this is the card that came out when the song came forward. To rise, you must let go of fear. And the song is called Rise by Yaima. And I will, like I said, I will link it. That's actually the album this is from, is one of my favorite yoga albums to listen to for yoga. It feels really Shakti, and I like yoga that moves, like yin as well, but anyway, you might like to use it for yoga, but you may like to just listen to it. It's a nice little song, Rise. But yeah, this card came out, and so did the song Rise, and the lyric Rise, and I was like, okay, we better share that feels important. So I hope you do love that song, or maybe even the whole album it comes from. But yeah, that's to rise, you must let go of fear. And that's what you're learning this year, is to not fear change, to not fear death. It's just a metaphor, this death card. It's time for you to truly stand up for yourself and what you are working on. I feel like there's something really beautiful that you are. There's something, and that you create, that you work on. I do feel that quite strongly in this reading, that there's something very sacred about you, something very special. And I think you really, I think it's part of your journey is coming to realise that, and has been so far. I think you may have not known for a very long time in your youth, perhaps, how special you actually are and how important and precious the work is that you have to do here is. And I think you're really coming in to see that and realise that. And that's also part of this year, is honouring that discovery and what, I want to say she, but that might not be for everyone, but honouring what she's worth, that thing you find, that like externalizing self almost, like seeing yourself outside of self, like what does she deserve? I don't mean to say she, it's just what I want to say. So maybe it's just a lot of she's connecting, which is the demographics for my readings are mostly women. but it just feels, maybe it's also because the Queen of Coins is this beautiful Aboriginal woman here. I just feel very much like honouring the goddess or something like that is important. And we've got the Empress here on the bottom of the reading too, so you know, very, very high chance of that. And I also feel like there's children to be nurtured in this situation as well. Perhaps you are a mother, and that is a very important part of your year, is being there for your children and their needs this year, because they're really going to need you to just be their friend, be their guide, be with them, just be with them, that sort of thing. Be with them each step of the way, just present, you know, that sort of thing, playing, enjoying, just being with them. But yeah, loving yourself through things that are exhausting and choosing what's right for yourself. Absolutely. So what is coming your way in 23? We've got the Nine of Pentacles. We've got all major arcana here nearly, other than the Nine of Pentacles. Strength, Magician, and the Chariot. So this year I can see as well, like I do feel for a lot of you, there's with the card of conjunction here, alliances, Three of Pentacles is here as well. There's a bit of energy about groups of people for you, communities, groups of people, co-workers, whatever it might be. And not all of them have been healthy or good for you, but you've definitely learned a lot from them. I can see that here very much. And I think there's a bit of a balancing act happening for you in the groups of people you involve yourself in. And I feel like if there are groups of people that you feel like you need to change yourself to fit in with them, or squash yourself, or it just, you know, if the two individuals or the individuals within the group can't be honoured, then you may be coming to realize where you need to distance yourself. I just feel like there's some groups that you may, underneath the conjunction card is I deserve respect, you know, like, and you do. And that's what I think part of this message is, to say that there are some groups that maybe not feel very respected in, and that you do deserve respect. And so to balance that out is perhaps maybe finding more aligned groups of people for yourself here. But also in this message of what's coming your way is also just honouring your independence within a group and external from a group. With the Nine of Pentacles, Strength, the Magician, the Chariot, I do feel like there's a lot of change in regards to social circle this year. And not in any scary sense like, oh, you'll lose all your friends. It's not like that at all. It's just groups that aren't really honouring you or are not right for you. I feel like you may slip away from them and find yourself in groups that are more fitting. But you'll also be enjoying more of your alone time, which is interesting, because the other two groups, I do feel like, you know, groups of people is important to you, but this year it might be more about the individual. And the other two, group 1 and 2, did have a lot to say about, you know, teamwork and sharing with other groups. But your reading, while I feel you are involved in groups, I feel like it might be a time for you to sort of step back a little bit in some areas and just honour your own individual growth, and discover and explore a bit more of what's right for you as an individual. For some of you, that may mean leaving relationships completely to find your independence, or perhaps leaving behind a certain job to, you know, start off on your own. Whatever it is, you've got what it takes, because we have Strength, Magician, and the Chariot. So whatever it is that you choose to go at alone this year, you're going to do well. This is the message. I should have just said that first real quick. Really, really strong message here, that whatever you put your mind to, you will skill develop and you will master, and you will do it well. With the Magician, the Chariot, and Strength, you will overcome any of your own personal challenges, fears, and doubts. You know, to rise, you must let go of fear. You're going to do that, and you're going to really explore your own potential. With the Magician here as well, whatever it is you put your mind to, you're going to create it, and you're going to do it well. Not everything's going to work out 100% perfect, because that's the way of life. But with the Chariot here, when a challenge comes up, you're going to navigate it in another way that makes this setback or perceived, you know, barrier become something that actually works for you in the end. So no matter what challenge comes your way, and wherever it is you feel like you kind of have to go it alone, even if that in itself is challenging, trust that way. Trust that individual path this year, because what you do for yourself here and what you create for yourself here is, I think it's going to quite surprise you. And there's some of your own personal, your own nature within self. Maybe it's the self-sabotaging nature, or maybe it's you know, the beast within, that sort of thing. You're going to learn how to control that so that it benefits you in situations. Absolutely. I also feel like there's a lot of special energy around the home life this year as well. Like lots of, maybe you're creating a garden or you're just getting a bit more of a work-life balance. I think that's really important here. There's a lot actually to do with balance now that I said that. Yeah, I feel like starting any new projects, any new studies, any new adventure you've got your eyes on, any travel at all. Yeah, you've got travel as much as you can. This will add dimensions to your life. We see that with Six of Swords Chariot as well. If there is an opportunity to travel this year, take it, and you will have a great time. By the looks of this, it looks like it is on the cards for you, even if that travel is not until later, but you just plan it. Well, I do think the traveling is this year for this group. Yeah, you're just really also having enough to share with other people and teaching other people, I think, how to find their own strength. I think there's a lot of teacher energy in this year. You'll be teaching people or guiding people. I think part of what you're teaching is what you've learned yourself, your own hard-earned knowledge. So advice for this year, we have the Ace of Wands, the Page of Coins. We also have the Eight of Wands and the Hermit. So first of all, the advice this year is to get creative and to follow through on those intuitive, divine, inspired ideas that you have. This Ace of Wands is about creative energy, and I do feel as well it's a lot to do with just believing in where you're headed and going for it, giving it a go. Just being very present and alive in your everyday moments. I think it's about engaging and being present, whether that's through play with your children, whether that's in the kitchen cooking. Like, be present, be in it, put your art into it, put your heart into it. We have the Page of Coins and the Eight of Wands. So what I also see in here is any new project or idea that you've had that you want to develop on, share, create, whatever, do it. Do it. That's all there is to it. This is 100%. If you've got a creative idea, get it started, share it with the world, make it happen. If you're going to feed your energy into it, there may be some sacrifices you need to make along the way to get there, but you are best to do that. Really, with the Page of Coins here, this is an opportunity that it will come your way, maybe a new job or a new hobby or something. We've actually got that here, start a new hobby. 100%. If there's some sort of idea you want to do, go for it. Even if it's big or small, it doesn't matter. For myself, I'm trying an embroidery journal this year. You get an embroidery hoop and you divide it into 12 and you just stitch in little pictures of whatever something meant to you in January and so forth around the thing. And that's what I'm choosing to do. I've never done that before, but I want to give it a go. So this could be something small like that just fulfills you throughout the whole of the year, or it could be something else, bigger, it could be massive, it could be anything. But whatever this is, you're really encouraged to give it a go and put it out there, share it with the world, create it, put your energy into it. Same with when it comes to your health and the way you tend to your body. Any exercise routines you may have had in mind. I'm not talking New Year's resolution style stuff. I'm talking about the whole of the year. So it's not like a hype for this moment. This is you in this year. The message throughout the whole year is to continue starting new things and really and seeing it through when you do. In regards to financial gains, projects you create, and like I said, your health and your body, your exercise, and the things that you consume. Make plans and see it through. Travel is another big one here. If you get the opportunity to plan for a trip to travel, do it. Maybe even traveling alone. The last card you had was the Hermit. So there's quite the message here in group 3. There will be times when you need to realize where it is you need to go it alone, where it is you need to perhaps just pull back. For some of you, this may mean realizing where it is you need to go it alone, and for some of you, this may also mean going on trips alone. With the Hermit card here, the Eight of Wands, it might be a bit of a pilgrimage or a bit of a soul-searching journey. You may be wanting to do something a little differently. Maybe going on some certain specific adventure. For some of you, actually, I can't quite recall. Oh yeah, there it was. With the travel as much as you can, this will add dimensions to your life. I did get the plant medicine message for some people out there, whether that's DMT, ayahuasca, San Pedro, whatever it is, there may be that experience for you in 23, not resonating with everyone, of course, but for some of you, I do feel a bit of a plant medicine journey that is going to bring a powerful transformation into your life. And that's what I see here also with that Hermit card and the Eight of Wands. A bit of some sort of soul searching opportunity may come up for you. Maybe it's not to do with plant medicine. Maybe it's a beautiful retreat or something you get to go and do that helps you unlock or discover some things inside of yourself that you really need to do at this time, because the Hermit is a soul searching card and a card of turning inwards for your light and your resources. I feel like this is also something you're very much beginning to, I don't know about beginning, because, or maybe it's just another layer, another level of something new that you're growing into, that you're creating, that you're nurturing inside of yourself. And I think it's a very creative, divinely inspired thing that is happening for you, that is changing your life, you're being led by, and definitely, yeah. So in the Moonology cards, we have nothing will come of this situation, avoid of course moon. We have meditate and contemplate, new moon in Pisces, and luck is on your side, new moon in Sagittarius. So in the theme of nurturing things that are new and new growth within yourself, what I see here is that when there is something, perhaps with this card, with nothing will come of this situation, perhaps there is a situation that you have feared a negative outcome, or something not working in a way that you'd hoped. This is to say that nothing will come of that situation, to step back and meditate and contemplate on the outcome of this, because however the outcome is, luck is on your side here, and you need to just trust that. So if things are not working out how you'd like to in situations, do trust that whatever's happening is exactly how it's meant to happen, and you've got what it takes to make things, to navigate any challenges and make things work in your favor in the end, because luck is on your side here. And whatever new endeavor you're embarking upon here, whatever new travel journey, project, idea, personal development, any of it, when things are not working, it's time to just step back, pull back. Definitely a message, and to trust, to meditate and to trust. In the Sacred Destiny Oracle, we have action, and I kind of wanted to read straight to the book from this one because it was pretty good. So, action. Where do I go from? A shift is coming. The time is now. Don't hesitate. Face your fear. Do it anyway. When big change is on the horizon, it takes time. It's time to take action. Of course, there are times to deliberate and carefully consider your next step. Deliberate and carefully consider your next step. But not now. Now is the time to take immediate action. Look forward with a calm, steely gaze, and then forge ahead with clarity, determination, power, and grace. Quicken your spirit by making decisions now. Even if you're not 100% certain of your decision, right now, it's better to make any choice than none at all. And the other card that was next to that, which I just had. Oh, there, it's there. It's there. Focus. Take action and then focus. With focus, it is about exactly that. Whatever it is you focus on, where you feed your energy to, is what you're creating in your life. So where your focus goes is where your energy flows. And with that, we have start a new hobby, create a routine. So the suggestions here from Spirit are exactly that, to focus on a different sort of routine for yourself, perhaps creating a whole new life, perhaps creating a whole new lifestyle. Whatever it is that you're creating, it feels like it's very new and it's really worth all of your attention. You also have practice gratitude, time to acknowledge what you're grateful for. And I think you'll feel very, very grateful having introduced perhaps a new healthy routine that makes you feel balanced and structured, and like things are happening and progressive for yourself. You'd also, I think you'll feel a great sense of gratitude when you have new hobbies and things in your heart that you can, like creative outlets, ways that you can express yourself. But also just gratitude in general, because you're a group 3. But not only that, it does look like a really beautiful year for you, of really coming into your own power, of letting go of fear and really transformational change. Travel as much as you can, this will add dimension to your life, and a powerful change will transform your life. There's definitely opportunities here for growth this year, big ones. And in the Star Codes Oracle, we have conjunction and Libra. So this, like I was speaking about before with groups of people, conjunction is about alliances and groups that we are connected to, and with balance and Libra, it feels like it's time for you to create more balance in these situations where perhaps you're not squashing yourself to fit in, but you're honoring the individual and the group as a unified structure, but also your individual self with the Nine of Pentacles here. There's like strong indication that there's a need to really create a balance in this area, or in the area of your groups of people, and maybe even a work-life balance as well, like having enough time for the people and the things you want to do in your life. So there is a need to go with the flow as changes come up, and especially with this one card, to rise you must let go of fear, and then having that particular song come on, which I do hope you enjoy as well. So Group 3, that is what I have for you. Sorry there's lots of cuts in this reading. I did have a lot of interruptions from Jackson today because it is school holidays, so just getting through that. So there'll be lots of cuts, but hopefully it still flowed in the reading as much as I could. And yeah, so that is 2023 Group 3. I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I hope it's given you some sort of comfort, clarity or guidance, and I look forward to reading for you all again.